Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of Success Stories. So in this week's episode, I've got someone who is actually really interesting. It's my client turned friend Josh, who has a supplements business. Now, I thought he would be a great guest because he is a real startup, and he's also in kind of such a competitive space and trying to do something so technical that I wouldn't even know where to begin with. So I thought it would be an interesting conversation for anyone who really kind of has a passion to get into something but just has no idea where to even start. So you're obviously in the fitness industry, really, would you say, or would you say more supplements? It's kind of both, isn't it?
I'd say eventually I want to be in the supplement business, like solely, but I guess at the minute, because I'm only doing the protein powders, like currently, obviously new products lead on to different things, but eventually I want to be supplements. But yeah, at the moment, yeah, I'd say fitness.
So why did you even want to get into like such a competitive market?
I don't know. I think it was, to be honest, I don't really believe in like competitive markets. Like I think if you've got if you bring something different to the table, like I don't feel like there's anything competitive about it. There can be like market leaders, but there's market leaders in everything.
Yeah.
Like, you could go like even like banks. Like there's so many like new banks that have popped up recently, like online ones. But I don't really like believe in like competitive spaces. You just need to bring something different, or better or cheaper or just something that gives you an edge. I think that'll be able to push you itself.
Did you kind of get into what you're doing because maybe you had used products in the past that you just didn't feel were 100% right for you, or was it that you thought maybe there's good money in this industry? Like, why did you choose to kind of do something that's so technical?
I mean, the protein powder, I started off with the Cbd protein powder. I've used CBD for years. Really, I started using it when I was in America, like 5 or 6 years ago. It wasn't actually legal in the UK at the time, but it was really good for like anxiety and like sleep and stuff like that. But I started to do a lot more research into it because I've started to use it a lot more. I found out it was really good for like fitness, like to help like muscles grow and like relaxation, like tiredness and soreness after you work out. And then so to be honest, CBD tastes absolutely disgusting. Like when you actually take the oil, it tastes awful. So I wanted to have like a protein powder that had like CBD in, but at the time there was nothing on the market. So I thought, this is quite a good window of opportunity to get into. So I guess it just started from there.
I always say that I feel like the most money comes from businesses that solve people's problems. So I guess you're kind of trying to solve that problem of, you wanted that for yourself. You saw it wasn't there, so you thought, I'll give it a try. Yeah,
exactly. But I think it took me so long to make, to get. I guess it wasn't right. I thought it was right at the time, but to get right at the time, it took so long. But by the time I'd actually done it, that a few had actually popped up.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I started it. There was nothing else out there in the entire world, that I could find anyway. But then by the time I'd done it, I think there was 3 other brands that were doing it. No majors. So I wasn't like too worried. I guess they were still quite niche things, but. There was nothing there.
So I guess you decide that you want to do this, and then it's kind of a whole process of, right, okay, so how am I going to get this made? Where am I going to get it made? I think a lot of people with, wanting to start a new business really struggle with suppliers and because you kind of just have to fully trust them, because even when you started, you obviously probably didn't know anything about actually creating a protein powder or whatever anything's doing. You don't really know, so you have to kind of trust that what they're telling you is legit and that they are working with you and not against you. Like, did you find that process difficult?
Yeah, so hard, honestly. Like, I think with that, like you've got no choice but to like trust suppliers. Like you kind of have to. Like if you're starting there, you've got absolutely no idea, which I didn't. Like I haven't worked at any brands that like sell supplements or nothing at all. Like literally only from taking like protein powders myself.
Yeah, just from being a consumer.
Yeah, like you've got no idea. You go into it blind, and I guess you've got really no choice but to trust these people. obviously like you can do your like due diligence and like read reviews on the companies and see like even when you call people and stuff, like you can see like how you like, I guess, vibe with them.
Yeah.
See if they get you or whatever. See if they're willing to help. But yeah, I no idea like what to do. Like I guess Google's like your best friend really.
Yeah.
In that sense, like just try and Google as many people as possible.
I think it's like cool that you even got through that stage, because I feel like that's a big stage where most people would actually give up and just be like, I've got no idea what I'm doing. I've got no idea who to trust or what's right, or even in terms of like pricing and stuff, like, you know, even trying to figure out, okay, what is a normal price for me to pay to have something like this made? And, you know, you probably have to do so much research to like look into that.
Yeah, I mean, like no big company is going to tell you what they're making everything for, and like even like the market leaders say like My Protein or whatever, they're never going to like disclose what each protein powder costs us X amount.
No, of course not.
Even if you did find that out, like you're never going to get that because they're getting millions made a week.
Yeah.
Whereas you probably only want like 1,000 or like probably not even that, because like that's quite a big number still. Yeah, I guess you just go into it blind and you kind of just hope for the best, hope nobody's like taking the piss out of you really.
Yeah. And did you find that you had to order, like, I think with like I've had the experience with clothing that they want you to order so many, so then you're putting so much money into it. Like whenever you start a business, you're really investing, but especially when you're making a product, because a lot of places, they don't want to get out of bed for less than however many units.
Oh my God, like they'll tell you, right, we need, say like 5,000 units minimum, or like 10,000 units. I had one place come back to me and they were saying like, yeah, sounds great, blah blah blah. Like I got off the phone with them. We literally spent like half an hour on like a call, and I'm thinking, right, we're gonna be doing like maybe a few hundred units or even like 1,000. Like 1,000 units at the time, that was like big money.
Yeah.
Like really big money. But then they came back and they were like, right, the minimum we can do is 100,000 units. And you're like, where do I even start? Like this, I don't think this is going to get off the ground. But I guess there's always a company to cater for what you want. Like even if it's not like the one you want first of all, but if you don't really have a choice. Like you have to kind of go with those people. Yeah, like I guess with the smaller like minimum order quantities, like you can push yourself and like you can save as much money as you can to try and put yourself into that. But when it's like 100,000 units,
it's never going to happen.
No, never. But like there's always someone to cater for those people. There's always someone to cater for startups, and you can always go to those people after. But
yeah, once you build up more of a brand and you're selling a lot more and you've got the money behind you, then you can move on to your ideal factory or supplier or whatever it is. But
yeah, exactly.
Did you ever have a point when you was in that whole process when you just thought, do you know what, I don't even know if this is like doable?
Oh, like every week. Like
even now?
Yeah, like, genuinely, like there's sometimes where I think like this is an awful lot of money, but like now, like for me, my order quantities have they've gone up. Obviously, it's like you're selling and whatnot, but even like through COVID and stuff, like a lot of the suppliers, they've raised their MOQs.
Yeah.
Just because like it makes it more worth it for them. Like everything's so much more expensive now as well.
Yeah.
Like,
especially with this whole like bloody shipping crisis that's going on, and that's for people in so many businesses. Like even, you know, I have so many like small fashion brands that just order from AliExpress, but like it's become a thing for everyone that like shipping is just not as easy. It's more expensive. It takes longer, and that affects the whole supply chain. Yeah,
it does. Like literally everything. So like even like it's not just about the amount. It's that like the amount that will cost you. Like say like I don't know, 100 units would cost you £100. Like now 100 units will cost you £120.
Yeah.
You can't really raise your prices too much because you're starting out. Like if you put that all onto the consumer first of all, no one's really going to look at you. But so you kind of just have to swallow that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it is hard. Like even now, I think like, God, like, is it worth it? But I guess it always is in the end. But like you'll always have these things at the start.
How do you like stay motivated almost? Because you know, when you are a startup and you're doing all these things, you're investing all this money. Like I obviously know from working with you that you've got like new products coming, which is obviously going to be costing you a lot of money.
Yeah, of course.
So you're probably not earning a lot from the business at the minute. Like if you're even taking anything. Like
no.
with my business, I didn't take. Well, I still haven't, because I'm still on my last wage since quitting my job. I've never like touched the money.
Yeah.
So it is hard to sometimes stay motivated when you don't feel like you're kind of like getting any reward, like you're not really reaping anything. Like, how do you kind of just keep doing it?
Like, businesses just bleed money. Like, at the start, they all they do is take. Like, you'd be very, very lucky. You can, I guess that's almost the difference between like building a brand and building a business.
100%.
Because like with a business, you can say, all right, I'd say if you're like a construction company and you've already got all those materials and everything, you could go and build something for £10,000, and you know that half of that's going to be your like going to be your profits.
Yeah.
And then like that doesn't affect you going into the next job. But say if you're building a brand, like you need to constantly be reinvesting. Like, so say if you make any money, like,
you're putting that straight back in.
It goes straight back into it, and then you need to add more.
Yeah.
And more and more and more. Like, so it. Yeah, I guess it is really hard. Like, I haven't taken any money from the business at all.
Yeah. So do you feel like you're just playing the long game?
Yeah, like I think I never had like a short-term thing where this is going to make me money instantly. I knew that was never going to happen. I knew the first order of when I placed the first order, that was never ever going to happen. Like, I wasn't going to see any profits from that.
Yeah.
Like, it was just I was genuinely over the moon when I sold out of like the first batch.
Yeah.
Like, it was like the best feeling in the world. Like, and there's so many hiccups along the way, and I guess the only things you've got to kind of just see like the end not even like the end result, because at the moment I don't really see an end result. Like, there's not, I don't know, like you don't go into it thinking, all right, I'm going to sell this company in 10 years, or I'm going to sell the company in 5 years.
I suppose you obviously have goals of like, this is what I want to do, but you don't ever really have anything tangible that you say, oh, this is the X amount of money or the X amount of product that I want to sell. Like, you can obviously set those goals, but it's almost like unrealistic.
Oh, completely.
And I think what you said earlier is so true about there's such a difference between building a business and a brand, because it's so easy now, like so easy for anyone to just buy a product, whether it's from eBay, AliExpress, bloody Commercial Road in East London, like anywhere, like whatever you want to do, it's so easy. And you know, you probably could have somehow just found somewhere that makes protein powder, bought protein powder off them, like not like technically designed anything yourself, and just stuck a label on it and started selling it. Like, that is almost too easy now. And that is where you obviously get short-term money if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But I think you're always going to earn more in the long run when you do it from scratch.
Yeah, they're literally, there's websites you can go on and you can buy 100 kilos of vegan protein powder, and
that's almost scary.
And like, all you do is you send them. To be fair, there's even like, all right, I want my protein powder to look like this. All you do is you email them, you buy it online. You email them and say, right, I want it to look like this, and you pay X amount of money.
Yeah, here's my logo.
Yeah, here's my logo. Or they'll even make your logo for you. Like, you just say if you're a gym owner, that you can go and do that so easily, so easily. And
which, look, I'm not
with you.
Yeah, like, I'm not. It's not that I'm bashing that. Like, you know, it is like, it's a cool thing to do if you just think, right, I'll just almost want to do it on the side. But I think building a brand is long term, and it's like, it's so hard to define like what that even means. But I think when you're tailoring it to exactly what you want, and I obviously know that you've been super fussy with you know, everything. But I think that's the best way to be, because you know, what's the point in starting to sell something that you're not 100% into, because your customers are probably not going to be 100% into it either, so then they're probably not going to buy from you again.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I'm being totally honest, like, my product that I was selling before, it tastes like shit. Like, compared to now, where it tastes absolutely awful. Like, but I thought at the time, like, that it tasted amazing, but
now that you've experienced more, is that why you think now it's changed, or do you feel like with the first one you was in more of a rush?
Oh, I was in a massive rush. Like, from the start, like, it took me about a year to maybe about 8-9 months to, like, actually from start to finish. Right, this is right. I've got like an end product now, but during that time, like, it took so long for everything to start out. Like, I didn't give myself enough time. Like, I wanted to start selling in the new year. Like, I wanted to have it by Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I wanted
January rush.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone, New Year, new
me.
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that.
all of that bollocks. Like I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to go in, and I wanted to try and like hit that market, run it. But so it was leading up to Christmas, and like you don't take anything into consideration. Like, I didn't think like, oh, look, it's like an 8-week lead time. So say if I do it in like end of October, I'll have everything by Christmas. But
yeah, it does not work.
No,
like
everything shuts down at Christmas time. And
yeah.
Like, it doesn't take 8 weeks. It'll probably take 12.
Yeah, everything's always delayed. You've obviously got post and all that kind of stuff is slower at Christmas. Things shut down. People finish work earlier in December and all of that. I think it's such a learning process at the beginning. Like now you're probably like, oh, never. Like you're probably, if you want stuff by January, you're probably getting it in the bank by like July.
Yeah, like well, at the moment I'm rushing like mad, but so I'm not really taking my own advice. But the like I wanted everything to be done by January, and everything came. I think it was like midway through January, so I'd already kind of missed that rush because people have fallen off their New Year's resolutions already. And when it came, that the company had sent off the wrong the wrong packaging.
Right.
So it arrived and it was completely wrong anyway. So it all had to go back, and then it had to sit in storage for 4 weeks before they'd even take it back. So by that time, then they had it all reprinted for me, new protein powder put into the packaging. I received everything by like mid-February. So like it's like that's 10 weeks after I really thought I'd have everything ready to go. Like I guess with startups, like you try and rush everything because you want to hit these markets, but really I think those markets are right. They're kind of only really for people like big brands. Like those big brands hit those types of markets. Yeah. Stuff like that. But like if you're new, like the main thing is just to start selling. Yeah. Like just to get.
And I think the main thing is to kind of just make sure the product's perfect. So like no matter when it comes, if it comes in bloody July or like now, really, what are we in October? It's probably one of the worst times of the year for your kind of fitness industry because no one really gives a fuck about.
No,
everyone's
done
like,
with
yes,
summer.
Winter.
Everybody's done with
dinners,
summer.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like Christmas is coming up. No one really gives a shit about how they look over Christmas.
You know, if that's how it's going to be, then I think it's all about learning to adapt. Like no matter what stage of your business you're in, you could be like 10 years deep and be like absolutely smashing it. Yeah. But stuff still goes wrong and you still have to adapt. And I really follow Ben Francis, the owner of Gymshark, who I just think is like insane. Like he just seems like the most normal, like northern guy who just like this all happened to. But he just speaks so much about like adapting, and it's, you know, you can't cry over spilt milk, and it's definitely a lot more than spilt milk, but I think like, you know, it's so hard to explain to people, but like how to even just keep doing it when everything feels like it's going wrong. Like I know you've obviously had an issue where you thought it's the same issue as what you had before, that you thought you was going to have stuff that's now maybe not going to be there on time. And
no, it's not.
Do you feel like you're just in a mindset where you're like, well, look, I can't do anything about it, so I've just got to get over it?
Yeah. I mean, I listened to Lewis Morgan. He's the co-founder of Gymshark. I think he sold out recently. But those two, they're really inspiring. Like they started off from like absolutely nothing, like printing T-shirts. Yeah. In like the back of, I think Ben's house. Like that's crazy. And I think they got valued at, I think it was like £1 billion or $1 billion the other day, which is absolutely mental. But like that, I reckon that I think it's with everything like this. There's so many points where you can think, right, I'm going to give up now because. Yeah. But that's the easy option. Like,
it actually is.
I know that's so cliche. But
no, but it is. It's so easy to just be like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah, because like you do all these things, and like I'm 2 years in now, and I haven't seen a profit myself. But like I don't care about that. Like I think you've got to have such a passion and a drive for like what you do. Like, I know everybody says that. Yeah. But like it doesn't even have. I mean, I do, but like even if it's just a passion for the business to do well.
And like, really believing in your own product, because if you don't fully believe in your product, then it's never going to go all the way because you're not going to put your everything into it. No,
if I'm honest, I didn't believe in my last product like that well because I rushed it. I feel like I rushed everything. Like I rushed everything to be done for this January, like for this January, like New Year, New Me stuff. but it didn't even arrive for then. So like it was absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
Absolutely pointless. Like you do all of these. Oh, and then like even like the shakers and stuff like that. Like I had this idea, like a blender bottle are like the Rolls Royce of like shakers. Like you can't get any better than them. They've been doing it for years. Absolutely best people on the market to go and get shakers from. But I thought, right, they're super expensive. Like you don't, if you like collaborate with them and have your stuff branded by them, you don't make any money unless you're doing like serious orders.
Yeah.
You don't make any money from them. So I thought, I won't do that. I'll go on to, I think it was like AliExpress or something
or
like that.
Alibaba or
yeah,
something.
Alibaba. Yeah, that was it. So I thought, all right, I'll go onto there and I'll get the stuff made by them, and because it's super cheap and like I can get it. But then that took 8 weeks.
Yeah.
For the stuff to arrive. When the stuff arrived, half of them were wrong.
Yeah.
So like you can't sell half of them, and they don't give a fuck.
No.
Like, whether
and with places like AliExpress and Alibaba and all things like that, like, yeah, okay, you can probably send it back, but that's a process in itself. Like, it's probably come from the other side of the world, and
Yeah, it
like
has. Like,
even
it's
trying to
stupid.
like send that back, like that would take so long for it to get back there. Then are they actually going to bother reimbursing you? Like, so sometimes you have got to spend the money.
Yeah, you do. Like I feel like everybody, like it's so cliche, but like you buy cheap, you buy twice.
Yeah.
And I've learned that.
I've actually never heard that phrase.
Oh right.
I've heard the phrase that you obviously like you get what you pay for.
Oh right.
That's a new one for me.
Oh right. Okay.
So
All right,
I'll take that one. Say it again. What is it?
But you buy cheap, you buy twice.
You buy cheap, you buy twice. Okay,
Right, yeah.
I like
So
it.
I bought cheap and I bought twice. So because I bought from there, I couldn't sell half of them. Like, and then if I was to send them back, then that'd be another 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it takes the manufacture time. And then that's another 8. Like say that's
So
like
that's
3 weeks.
almost like a big lesson that you learn early on, is that like I need, like, if this is really going to work, I need to actually put my hand in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly. I think at the time, like you want to try and do everything. You want to do everything cheap, but like you want to. I did the protein powder,
You still
right?
obviously don't want to bloody skint yourself.
No, you don't. But like I feel like with business, you kind of do.
Yeah, you do.
Like, whatever you think it's going to cost you, it's going to cost you double.
Yeah.
Like anything.
I feel like we're scaring people.
Oh yeah. Don't start a business.
No, but I feel like it's good to just be realistic, and you know, these are all issues that people are gonna have, like no matter what, no matter if you are completely making your own product or if you are just gonna go buy a product from somewhere else, there's still gonna be issues that happen. So
Yeah.
like I feel like I used to be a pessimist. Now I just feel like I'm a realist, which I think some people just think that's a pessimist. But no, I feel like I am just a realist. Like, you've got to be realistic, and you can obviously be hopeful for things. But I feel like sometimes if you're, what's the opposite of a pessimist?
Optimist.
An optimist, right?
There we go.
I feel like if you're a massive optimist, sometimes that's where you end up shooting yourself in the foot, because you're just thinking, oh, everything's going to go so well all of the time.
You're away with the fairies.
Yeah, it's not realistic.
Nah, you genuinely think like, right, this is going to be the best thing in the world.
And
like,
I'm going to make money on day one.
I'm going to make millions. Like the first week, I'm going to sell out. I'm going to do this and that. You're not.
No.
Like that never happens. Listen, unless you've got like a huge following or like people really care about your opinion already, like that's never really going to happen. Like if you're starting from absolute scratch, like it's never going to happen.
And that's a stressful thing that kind of I think happens with influencers is, you know, if you're an influencer and you've got 200, 300, 500,000 followers, you know, you can literally bring out a product and make money that day.
Yeah, you can.
And I think that's where people get this vision built up in their head of, right, I'm going to invest a load of money into this, and they're selling out. So, you know, people must really want that product. So I'm going to do something similar, and they're going to buy loads from me. But they're not really buying the product from that person. They're buying into the influencer.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, it's not the product. So I think that's where, like, social media has kind of made so many things unrealistic.
Oh, I think it's completely like skewed people with what they think is going to happen.
Yeah.
And like I'm at fault to that as well, because genuinely I thought, right, this isn't going to be that hard, but like even like from selling the CBD and stuff like that, like, I thought, right, I have this product, no one else is making it, like I really want it, so other people are going to really want it. And like, I asked around, like all my friends really want it as well. Like it's great.
But
like,
often when you're asking your friends and family, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's great."
People blow smoke up your arse.
Yeah, and it's biased. Like, and it's not in they're not doing it in like a horrible way, but sometimes you get the wrong advice because you're asking people that, you know, they're gonna say like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea, Josh," because they're your friend.
Yeah, like always. I think you need both opinions. You need like you need a pessimist opinion and you need like an optimist opinion. But most people like that are your family or they know you or your friends or whatever, they're going to be optimistic for you.
Yeah.
And then no one's really going to give you like, even if someone's thinking, right, this is the worst idea in the world.
Oh no, my mum would.
Oh, she would.
Oh my God, like she is. And she's going to listen to this, but it's fine because I tell her all the time. She is the most half glass full person you will ever meet.
Really?
I always describe her that you could meet her tomorrow and go, "Oh my God, I've just won 130 mil on the Euro Millions." And that her first fault or thing that she said would be a reason why that's bad. She'll be like, "Oh no, because you're now going to turn into such a bastard because you've got a load of money." That is her. So I feel like that's probably why I can sometimes be a bit, because she's so like. But it's also
I think that's good though, to be honest.
But I think it is also good because she
Not at
is.
the time.
Yeah, at the time I just think, fuck off. Like I don't want the negativity.
Yeah.
But it does obviously make you think about things from both sides.
What did she say about the podcast?
I don't know. I know she's listened to the first episode, so I don't know. But I think with the podcast, what can really go wrong, because I'm not going to earn any money from it for a while anyway.
Yeah, true.
But I think a good point to make as well with you is that, you know, we haven't touched upon it, so people might be thinking, okay, so you're saying you're spending all this money, you're not earning anything. Are you someone that's just got loads of money? Like, no, you obviously work a full-time job. I know that. How do you find working full-time and running a business? Because, you know, your full-time job's full on. Is that a struggle?
Oh, like yeah, it's horrible, to be honest. Like today's my first day off in 4 weeks. Like I work Saturdays, Sundays. Like you work till 8 o'clock
and you're here with
night.
me.
I know, great.
Sort of working.
Yeah. No, it's don't get me wrong, it's hard. Like, but it's one of those things like you need to do it. Like
You couldn't do the business if you didn't work the job, I guess.
No. Like the business is like the job has funded the business.
Yeah.
Like, and it still does to a certain extent. Like, but I wouldn't do it if, like, say for instance you've got like a hobby, or like you play football or you swim, or you do anything like that, or like you like to go out and ride like your bike or anything really. Like you go out and do those things. You don't think, right, I'm really tired now, like, so I'm only going to work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do anything else. Like, this is kind of like my hobby as well.
Yeah.
Like
I think
guess
that's
it's more
where
than a hobby, but
I think that's where the passion comes in as well, because if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to finish work and then going to want to open your laptop or package orders or, you know, do your Instagram or whatever it is.
That's why I've got you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why you've got me. But all the other stuff, you would want to come home and just sit on your ass.
Yeah, I think.
And I'm sure there are days where you do come home and you think, do you know what, I actually haven't got the mental capacity to think about business tonight. But that's fine. But you would never ever have it if you didn't have the passion.
No, exactly. I think like it's I think when I was younger, like I started a few like businesses when I was younger, and like I thought, right, I'm never gonna have to work a day in my life again, because like I was doing like personal shopping and like reselling trainers and clothes and whatever else, and I thought, right, well I can do this, and I don't actually have to work like properly. But then I thought about it, and I wouldn't. With all of those things, that you wouldn't be able to do those things if you didn't work for someone initially.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Like I know I won't be working at my job at the moment in 5 years' time.
Yeah, we're going to make sure of that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's just one of those things, like you need to have the passion there, you need to have the drive there to be able to think like, right, even after like not a day off in however long, or like you need to be able to come home and still want to be able to do that, because you can see like the end goal in sight.
Yeah,
I guess it's not even about that, but like after a while it becomes second nature. Like you just have to do those things.
Yeah, of course.
It's part of your day, like
especially when it's a business like yours where you're investing so much money. There's kind of no other choice. Like with my business, I'm in a really lucky position that I have zero overheads. I don't pay for anything. I pay my phone bill, a Zoom subscription. You know, like me doing this podcast today and paying for this is it's a luxury. It's not necessary. I don't need to pay for this. So
it's lovely though.
So yeah, I mean, it's quite nice and cushy, but like I am really fortunate in that my business is all just kind of me.
Yeah.
But so it would be easier for someone like me to just go, oh, do you know what? Like I'm not going to post for the next week because I'm not like, although yes, that's damaging to my business and I will lose money. But for you, it's kind of right. I've put in X amount. I need to at least get that back. So you kind of don't have another choice but to do it.
No, because like if I was to do that, I'd go and get all the money, withdraw it from the bank, and I'd set fire to it. If you're not gonna do the work, then it's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, really.
Of course.
Because like you're not doing anything to make the money back. So like how are you going to expect anybody to buy off you or listen to you or do anything if you're not putting in the work? Like people aren't going to know about you.
Yeah.
Like, you are literally just setting fire to money. So it's absolutely pointless. And I feel like so many people start businesses, and then if they just hung on another 2 years, like don't get me wrong, I can't speak at the moment because I'm only 2 years into my business. Maybe I can when I'm like 10 years down the line. It's like amazing.
No, but there's still been multiple points where you could have gone, do you know what, like this is too much hassle, I can't cope with this with my job, I'm spending too much money. Like no matter if you're 6 months in, 7 years in, like there's always times where you could easily quit.
Yeah, I mean I've had 5 bank accounts shut down because of the CBD thing. Like that. But and then like to have that, like one day you'll like it'll be going like really well. Oh, I'm getting loads of sales in.
Yeah.
And then like they like the bank shuts your account down because of the CBD thing.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, what is the situation with that? So a lot of banks don't.
It's classed as like a high risk like product or service. It's the same thing as like gambling or like porn or something like that, even though it's completely legal because it used to be a drug. It's classed as like high risk. It's also because like in some countries, like really small countries, it's still illegal.
Yeah.
So to them, like if you're selling outside of that, like that's really high risk.
Yeah. So they just think this isn't worth it. We're just going to close the bank account.
Yeah, it's not worth it for them. So like when I started out, like I was using even like payment providers, I was using like Shopify payments, like, and they take 2%, which is fine. But then, like that got shut down within like 3 days.
Yeah.
And then like I went to Stripe, that got shut down within 2 days. So I had to, and then it's such a long process to find a payment provider that will cater for you.
I had the exact same problem. So some people that have followed me for a really long time might remember, but I had a business for a while. It was called Win Lavish, and I would go into like Louis Vuitton or wherever, and I would buy something, and then I would sell like tickets for £5, for example, and obviously sell way more tickets than what I paid for it, so I was earning money. But that's classed as gambling.
Yeah.
And I had my payment provider shut down twice, so I was on like Wix payments, and then I think it was like Shopify or Stripe or something like that. And then the only way around it was you had to go through like a third party, and you had to pay the third party a shit ton of money for them to kind of like, I don't know what, it was legal, but I don't know how it works. And so I gave up. I was just like, because at the time I had another business, and I was like, this was just kind of something on the side, but it was actually doing so well. Like I was earning so much money from it. Because obviously if you're like, you know, a lot of the items I was buying were not kind of accessible for the
Most
normal
people,
person to go out and buy. So for them to go, oh, do you know what? I think some of the stuff was like £2.50 a ticket. So it's like nothing. Like that's like less than lunch money. So people were just like, oh, you know, if people lost that £2.50 or a £5, it was just like, oh, whatever. So many people were doing it, and it was such a good business model. And when I started doing that,
so many people are doing it now. So many people, like, even cars, houses, like everything.
Well, when I was doing it, there was literally no one doing it. And when all the bank accounts started getting closing down, I was like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
But then quite a few big like personal shoppers, like Undivided, they've now got Undivided Prize.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else, but there was others all started popping up. But, you know, companies like that have obviously already got the financial backing, which I didn't have, to be like, yeah, fuck it, we're just going to pay these people to sort it out for us. So I guess it was the same for you. Like, you know, you was better than me because you haven't given up.
I don't know. I mean, like there was some points where I thought, like, what's the point? Like, my payment provider at the moment, like some of them, they will take 40% of the sale price. Like, my payment provider at the moment, they take 25% of each sale. So like that's
for anyone that doesn't know, Josh also like donates a percentage. So
yeah,
like,
donate 10%. So
right,
like,
so that's straight away 35%.
Yeah.
Of your
of everything.
Yeah, is going.
Well, it's 10% of the full priced item. So and then 25% of that goes to the payment provider.
Yeah,
like
it's actually crazy, and this is such a good point about adapting, because you've now adapted and you're no longer gonna put CBD in your protein powders because you're like, this just isn't.
Well, it wasn't really that. It was the fact that like there were new laws like that have come in about CBD, and it's like the 25% and like all the accounts shut down, and like I'm banned off Facebook ads, and I'm banned off I'm banned off Google and Snapchat, and like all of these things that when I used to do like the personal shopping, like would really help the business.
Yeah,
like, really help it, and like you could advertise, but I can't really advertise anywhere at the moment. Like all of those things, like so all of those things were shut down, but it wasn't that deterred me. It was like the new laws have come in, like you need to send it off for an application, but the application is like a lot of money. Like it's in like, I think it's almost like 100 grand or so. It's, I don't want to say that, but like it's something you need.
Something too much.
It's way too much for what it's worth. And like for me, I feel like I could achieve the same thing or like a better product without it.
Yeah.
Then like it's kind of like a no-brainer, because then I don't have to go with the 25% payment provider, and like I can advertise on Google, I can advertise on Facebook, and I can do all those things.
And you're almost spending all your time firefighting all of these issues.
Yeah, all the time.
Constantly, that you're probably not able to put 100% like focus into the product and making good products because you're too busy on the phone to the bank arguing. So it's kind of like, you know, it's going to be better for you in the long run because you're going to be able to really focus on the product rather than like all this outside noise.
Yeah, I mean it is a difficult one, but I guess it's just one of those things that you have to, well, one of the multiple things that you have to kind of do. Like, don't get me wrong, if you think like your product or your service is the best thing in the world and it's high risk or whatever, then it's worth it.
Yeah,
it's so
but
worth it.
If you feel like you can put the same into something else, then
like I felt like I could achieve a better product, a better tasting product with more benefits. And like I feel like CBD, it was kind of, it deterred people as well. Like whenever I would speak to like my mum's friends or whatever,
I bet they're a bit like, oh, like,
does that get you high?
Josh is selling drugs.
Yeah, literally, like everyone would think.
I initially thought so. This is the funny thing about me and Josh coming together as like client. Well, you're my client, because Josh hired me because he thought that I was really knowledgeable in fitness, which I kind of am because of past jobs, but not necessarily in the protein powder, definitely not in the vegan space. So when I first was approached by you, I thought, CBD and protein powder, is that not going to make you a bit sleepy? Like,
so
like
everyone's got such a misconception of
like,
everything.
I just thought like, you're going to drink this protein powder, you're just going to want to have a nap.
Yeah, no. So like there's so many misconceptions because everyone thinks it's like either going to make you sleepy
I can
or
literally imagine you talking to like your mum's friends and them being like and trying to explain.
Like everyone, like anyone that's past like 50 genuinely thinks like if you have a scoop of protein powder, you're going to feel high and like you start hallucinating and like stuff like that. And like that's not the case like at all. And the amount of conversations that I've had with people, and it's literally that. Like just trying to explain to people that it's not that, and like trying to explain to people like all the other benefits that CBD does, rather than just like making you sleepy or something. To be fair, it doesn't even make you sleepy. Like it just relaxes you, which I guess does promote sleep. But yeah, it's
funny.
I know it's I guess it's just one of those things.
So kind of changing the subject, but I think a big part of, and what I didn't actually realise was a big deal until we spoke about it the other day, was that everything you do is made in the UK, which I was really shocked about because I feel like nothing is bloody made in England.
No, it's
like,
not.
Or most things that we buy are just not made locally anymore.
No.
And you said that you've had people actually reach out to you and say, like, you know, one of the reasons why I bought from you was because, you know, you're a British brand. So did you always, when you went into this, say, I only want to make in the UK, or because it obviously costs a lot more? Like I know from the clothing industry that getting things made in England is like tenfold what it would be if you got them made in, you know, Asia or, you know, even like Turkey, places like that. So was it always something that you wanted?
No, I don't think it was, to be honest. I think when I started, that wasn't even a thought of like, right, I want it to be made in the UK. I just wanted it made.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to be able to like actually like have it in front of me.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. If I had to go to wherever, I would, and they were the only people in the world that would do it. Then I'd go there. But I guess once you like have those conversations with suppliers, and it was a selling point to me that like this manufacturer could make it in the UK for me compared to one that was going to make it abroad. Like I do think that's important, because people are getting like a fair wage, and like I can't be like promoting like mental health and like sustainability and stuff like that if I'm paying a company that's going to pay someone like £2 a day. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I don't get all of these like big companies, like you don't really like most of them are made abroad, like even like Pretty Little Thing or like Boohoo or stuff like that.
They've had such bad press as well.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess people kind of forget about that. But like the reason they can sell stuff for like £2 is because the person that's making it is getting
there's
£2
a reason why you can buy stuff so cheap.
Exactly.
Because
they're gonna sell on a loss.
No.
Like
of course not.
So
and that's what also makes me die. Sometimes when you see like sales on these like fast fashion brands, they'll have something that they were selling for like 40 quid, let's say, and now all of a sudden it's down to £12. But you know that a huge company like that isn't selling it for, you know, a loss. So if they're selling something for £12, they're still making money off that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just makes you think, well, how much have they actually paid to get that made? Like it's crazy. And you know, I actually didn't think about it in the sense of like, you know, you as a brand are really big on like mental health, and that's, you know, if you're working in a bloody sweatshop all day, like it's obviously not going to be great for your mental health. So when you connect the dots like that, it's just so hypocritical, really. Yeah, it is so hypocritical, and I wouldn't have connected the dots like that until you said it.
No, I mean, I guess there is other points, like the fact that if I want to go and see it being made,
you can.
I can go there. I don't have to get on a 12-hour flight or a 8-hour flight and try and find a factory. And then try and like, it's just not feasible to like go in and do that. And even like from other things, like you can have like a broker, like say with a lot of products, you can have a broker that speaks to someone in wherever, and they can do that for you. But to be able to go and speak to people, there's no language barrier there.
No,
like, whatever
language
you say
barrier is such a big thing, I think.
Yeah, it is. Like, and like the quality, like I know the quality. I guess with UK supplements as well, like the UK has such tight regulations on stuff, like even compared to like the US. Say if something's made in the US and you say it's got 30 grams of protein powder for every 35 grams scoop, like if 10 of those scoops came out at 15 grams of protein powder, that's fine for them. But as long as one comes out, I don't know what the exact things are.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like you can. There's so much tighter regulations in the UK that you know you're going to get like a good quality product, and it's well made, and like the people are well paid, and
again it's that whole like you get what you pay for.
You do,
like, if you're, you know, really investing in a more expensive product, it is probably going to be better, and you're probably going to hopefully have some less issues and stuff like that.
I guess it's one of those things like I don't think there's anything. I guess there is some things wrong with getting things made abroad, but I think if that's what you want to do and you want to make a quick buck, then fair play, like go and do that.
Yeah.
Like
but it just didn't make sense for you as a brand.
No, like all of these like white label companies that you can go on and you can buy 100 kilos of protein powder, send them off your design. That's not being made in the UK.
No, of course not.
Like there's not tight regulations on that. Like you don't really know. You don't know what's going in it.
No,
but like
that's what I meant earlier when I said it's kind of scary that anyone can just go online and buy supplements that are going into people's bodies and just go like, yeah, like this is.
And there's no one policing that.
No.
Like you kind of just have to trust the company.
Yeah.
Really, like there's no one coming around to wherever you're distributing it from and like, right, I need to take 10 bags of this to test it
and stuff. Yeah.
Like there's none of that. Like so really, like all of these people, like you do need to trust them. Like you do need to trust the companies that you're buying from. So that I guess if I can trust my suppliers,
it's easier to trust when it's in your local country as well, because like you said, you can just go there and you can have real-time conversations with people, and it's, you know, you see more. And I think another big thing with what you're doing is like, you know, like being sustainable, and I think we're seeing so many businesses now go more down that route, because I think the whole world is obviously going down that route. But do you feel like again with that, I would imagine it's more expensive to be sustainable, because like it is.
It is. Like you can go and get plastic stuff made, like plastic
packaging.
Packaging, and that's so much cheaper. But like, say if you want like anything recycled, like that's already been recycled, like add another 50% to that.
Wow.
And like, say if I want,
it's crazy, because we're all encouraged to be more sustainable, and they want businesses to be more sustainable, but it costs more. So like, I fully understand that, you know, we're having quite a privileged conversation that, you know, you're able to, like, as much as you're probably skidding yourself, you're able to be like, okay, well, do you know what, I am going to go for the higher priced option rather than that. But there's a lot of people that would go, I really want to have this business, but I can actually only afford this for now. So I think as long as in the long term you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to switch, like I'm going to have to do it the cheaper way now, but I'm going to tell myself that once I'm earning X amount and I'm able to switch the packaging, then I'm going to, like,
I don't know, like I think that if you can, if that's not part of what you want to achieve, then like that's what you want to do, like go and do that. But like, I think it's because it's in my, like, what I want to be able to do, and like what I want I think your brand is just a second version of yourself. Really, like it's what you believe in, like all of these things. Like, so if they don't want to do that, and that's not really something that they care about,
that's not
like my protein or something like that, like no, I don't really think anything of theirs is like super sustainable, and like they're not getting their stuff made in the UK and everything like that, but they're able to provide a product that fits a certain market. For like, even like uni students that have got like not a lot of money, like they're able to go and buy protein powders or like supplements or something really cheap, and like that's great for them. Like,
but it's your market as well, so you're obviously catering to the market of people who want to buy British, want to be sustainable, are vegan. It's not only for vegans, obviously, because I'm here. But I was listening to a podcast earlier, and it is the best podcast I've ever listened to in my life, apart from this one, and it was a Stephen Bartlett podcast, and I'm really bad because I can't remember who the guest was, and he was literally the most amazing person I've ever listened to, and he was saying, like, and it was talking about sustainability sort of, because he was saying, you as a brand, you can't do everything. So his mission is one thing. His mission is like, you know, making people happier. And he's like, obviously I'm all for the whole climate change movement. He was like, I'm all for it. He was like, but you can't champion a million different things. So you as a brand can't champion, I want to be, you know, really low cost because I really want to sell to uni students, but also want to champion, I'm team, like, you know, the climate and sustainable and, you know, British. Like, you can't be,
it's impossible,
everything. So
no, you can't.
I think you have to just choose like one or two things that you can truly champion and say, right, this is as a brand what my mission is, and yours is obviously, you know, sustainability and giving back to charities and stuff like that. But you also, like, being a brand that gives back to charity, you couldn't do that if you was someone that was selling really, really cheap, because then you'd be making no profit to be able to,
it'd be pointless
to be able to, it's not even about making profit for yourself, but to then be able to reinvest into the company. So you have to kind of be a almost higher price brand to be able to help in that way as well.
Yeah, you do. Like, if I was selling at, I don't know, like other companies' prices, like it would be completely impossible. You wouldn't have recyclable packaging, and you wouldn't be able to give back to charities. I guess it's just one of those things, like, people get what they pay for. Like, people will actively go out now. I feel like before, people actively go out now and like look for those things, whereas like
and that's quite a new thing.
People wouldn't have done that before. Like, people won't look at the back of packaging and be like, oh, this is recyclable, like I've got an option here and I can pay an extra 10 pence, or I can pay an extra whatever, and I can feel good because I can recycle
it's
this.
that whole, like, I only remember it from, like, when the whole, like, fair trade thing come in, you know, like, when you look at anything now and it's got, like, it's either got or hasn't got a fair trade sticker on it. And then I also noticed when I used to be a PA, I worked at a charity literally here, and they would buy more expensive flights because the flights they would buy, the airline would plant X amount of trees for that particular flight. So like, you know,
I didn't know that happened.
Well, look, I'm now teaching you something about sustainability. Who would have thought it? But I think it's, you know, I feel like the world is going that way. So I think if you are starting a brand, it is kind of good to try and, because I do kind of think if, you know, your Pretty Little Things of the world, they're either going to have to change or they are going to get almost like blacklisted, because I really do think the world is going that way.
I think yeah, and no, like, people, there's always going to be a want for people that really, like, it's not part of them to, like, really care about that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's better to be like that, and I feel like if you're like that, there's no one that's, say if you walked into a shop and, like, you saw something that's, like, either fair trade or recyclable, it's the same price as something else, and they're the exact same product, you're going to pick that because it does more. But, like, I feel like there's always going to be a want for people that, like, want cheap goods or something like that. I guess if you can do those things, then that's great.
Then that's great, yeah. So I feel like we're both very much people who never feel like they're doing enough.
No.
And I feel like for you, it's almost a catch-22, because where you really have to take your time with everything, and everything is such a long process because you're getting things made and blah blah blah, it's almost like this cycle of, well, I'm not doing enough, but I can't speed things up. So, like, how do you even, like, mentally deal with that?
I don't think I do. No, I feel like it's like a constant battle, really. Like, I wanted to start making the protein powder, like the new stuff. Like, I wanted to have that made, and be with me by late September, and, like, I haven't even started getting it made yet. Like, because it's those things where, like, I feel like I rush things before. I don't want to do that now. And, like, I feel like I genuinely believe that I've got the best product on the market at the moment.
I love that.
I actually, no, I not even believe, like, I know I do.
Yes.
Like, because
say it with your chest.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that.
Yeah, that's it. Because it tastes so good.
If you do not think that, like,
what's the point?
What are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
what's the
what are you
point?
actually doing?
No, I agree, because, like, I didn't do that before, and, like, like I said, going back to it tastes awful. Tastes absolutely awful. Like,
and it's all about reputation. Like, you know, if someone buys your product and, you know, they taste it and they're like, no, it tastes like shit. When you bring out a new product, they're probably not going to try it.
No, they're not going to want
the
that.
last one tastes like shit. And it's the same with anything, whether, you know, whatever kind of product you're selling, if it's bad quality, if it's like whatever, or even with a service that you give, if you're having an off day and you give a bit of a shit service. I've actually had the experience. So I had a social media management client, and I was neglecting them a bit. I really was. They're not my client anymore, and that's totally understandable, because it was me.
Yeah.
But that person's now never going to come back to me.
No.
They're never going to recommend me. If anything,
not going to listen to the podcast.
If anything, they're going to say to me. Hopefully, they're not listening to the podcast and me admitting all this.
Yeah.
But, like, I've now learned, like, no, like, reputation is everything, because all it takes is for a couple of people to start saying whatever.
It'll ruin you.
And it doesn't even need to mean that they're going out and absolutely slating you. But if they just go to someone, they say, oh no, but do you know what? I tried that. It wasn't great. Why don't you try this person instead?
Exactly.
Like, even if gets about.
Yeah, if they speak to 3 people.
Yeah, and those 3 people speak to it.
Exactly.
It's such a true thing.
It webs out onto, if you think you've only pissed off one person, you haven't really, because, like, now 10 or 12 or whatever, they're not going to want to go to you either.
And that is going to happen. Obviously, that has happened to me, and that's happened really recently. And, like, you know, as long as you learn from it, I think, like, now I'm like I've got a stick up my ass, and I'm like, no, like, can't be neglected. No, I can't. No, I can't, because then Josh is going to sack me as well, and then we're just all we're all fucked.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think your reputation's everything. Like, thought that when I first started, because it was like previous stuff I'd done, like everything was advertising on social media and everything like that. But like genuinely the best advertising you can get is word of mouth.
Yeah.
And like
I thought word of mouth was dead until this business, and I would say a good 75%, if not 80% of my customers come to me and say, my friend recommended you.
See, I got recommended to you. So like I'd never seen your page, I'd never seen anything, but like I'd heard you're really good, and you kind of are.
This is why I said we're sort of friends, because you're so muggy. You kind of are.
No, you are good. Yeah, so I guess I guess it's just one of those things, like you need to be doing your best for everybody, and like the product needs to be the best,
and going the extra mile.
Yeah, like I think it's just I
think we've built a good like relationship, because I feel like with your business, I've become passionate about your business because I get it.
Yeah.
And I think we get each other, and I think all of that's important, because I now probably do more for you than I do for other clients, but then that will probably keep you as my client, because they're going the extra mile. So I think like understanding your customers and listening to their feedback and what they want, like, you know, sometimes it's good to have those like negative reviews. Like if someone come to you and said, Josh, do you know what your protein powder actually tastes like shit?
I actually had someone the other day that emailed me and they were like, I really appreciate what you're doing, like blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, this is great, like sick. And like
about to screenshot that and stick it on your story, and then down the line, like
it was like 3 lines in, and it was like, it's like, it tastes fucking terrible. Like they were so strongly worded, like it was, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Well,
I've never had that before.
There's a fine balance. So I've had it, for example, with Courtney, who I used to work for. She would get a lot of negativity sometimes, and sometimes you don't know, is that people just being negative and almost like, do you know what I mean, like just not being nice people, or is it something that you can look at and go, right, let me take a step back, is this true? If it's true, how do we fix it? Like you are obviously sometimes going to get negative things that aren't actually really a thing.
I think that's different though, with like obviously Courtney's, she's really, like, she's a celebrity in her own right, like she's so well known, like she's got businesses that are flying. Like
you're gonna get the jealousy.
Yeah, that's very different. Like I think if you're well known, there's always going to be some people that that will just do things purely out of spite and like jealousy, whereas like me, no one cares about me.
Yeah, so when you get that feedback, you really appreciate it.
It's genuine and it's honest, like, and it was that was the best bit of feedback I've ever had.
Yeah, because it was constructive.
Yeah, it was, and like I learnt from that, and like I realised, like, right, there are things that I could have improved on, and they're like all of these things that you don't want people just like praising you all the time. Or, like,
it's the bias again.
Like just because they know you or whatever, like those
Maybe
honest
I should
reviews.
try the powder.
Oh, the new one. Yeah, only trying the new one. The last one tastes terrible. It's sold out now anyway, so.
Yeah, so it's lucky, by the way, that it is actually sold out.
Yeah, so you can't buy it.
So the last thing I want to ask you is what I'm asking everyone, and that's, what does success mean to you? Because I actually don't know if I know what it means to me still. I think I've got an idea, but do you feel like you know what that looks like?
No. If I'm honest, I don't. I think you can have, to me, like loads of like little like successes. Like when, like a couple of years back, I was 21 and I just bought my flat.
That's amazing to do at 21.
And I thought
you felt it made you feel successful.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, at the time, but like I don't feel successful now. But I feel like you can have success in like small things, but I think as I don't know whether like you ever will feel like
this is what I worry about.
Like in the long term, you could genuinely be like Lewis Hamilton recently. Like he had 100 wins. That's the most a Formula One driver's ever had ever. Like he's the most decorated Formula One driver ever. But like, guaranteed in the next 30 years someone else will come along and be able to do that and like top that, and like does that make him not successful, or
I feel like my biggest fear in life is that nothing's ever going to be enough, because I'm such a always want more. Nothing's enough. I need to work harder. I need to earn more. I need to do more. That my biggest fear is that I'm never going to have that like moment when you're.
Are you talking about like consumerism, like things, or like just like in terms of business, or like what do you mean?
I feel like I want to come to a point in my life where I'm like, oh, like I did it, like I feel successful, and I'm worried that I'm never gonna feel
never
that.
Gonna get there.
Like,
yeah.
I feel like the thing with successes is it's like, I don't know if you've ever watched. There's Matthew McConaughey. Have you seen his Oscars speech?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Right, you know, and he's talking about that. You're always chasing. I can't remember what he's really saying, but he's basically saying that you're never gonna reach that point, because you're always like trying to be better. Yeah, and it's good to always want to be better than what you are. But I don't know, it's a weird one.
Yeah, he says like my idol. He says I was asked who my idol is, and I said it's me in 10 years.
Yeah.
And then when that came round, like the same person asked me, right, who's your idol? Like,
yeah, and it's me in another 10 years.
Yeah, like I guess you'll never get there. But also, I think Elon Musk said, if you, I can't remember if it was him or not, but someone said like if you can try and do like 10 years worth of work, and you can try and achieve that in 6 months, you probably won't get there, but you'll be a lot further down the line than if you said, all right, I've got 10 years to do that. So I guess it's, I don't know whether there'll ever be a point where I think like, right, yeah,
I've made it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there will be, maybe there won't.
I hope we do, because I think it sounds like a nice thing.
Yeah, it does, but is it a dream? Like,
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me.
And I think this has been so helpful to anyone who wants to do something that seems complex and seems too competitive and feels like it's just never going to work, and that you can make it work if you really want to.
Yeah, of course.
Amazing. Well, thank you.
No, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.